I've always loved the outdoors, so when my cousin Ben suggested a weekend camping trip, I jumped at the chance. The plan was to hike deep into a national forest, far from civilization. I liked the idea of being completely disconnected. We set off early, driving for hours until the road turned into dirt. The campsite was a few miles hike from the car, so we grabbed our gear and made the trek through the dense trees. By mid-afternoon, we reached a perfect spot, completely isolated by towering pines and beside a small stream. The day went by peacefully. We set up camp, fished, and explored the area, enjoying the quiet. As night fell, we sat by the fire, sharing stories and laughing about the good times. The forest was so quiet, just the crackling fire and the occasional splash from the stream. But as the hours passed, the peaceful silence became unnerving. At some point, the usual sounds of the forest disappeared. No insects, no birds, just dead silence. "You hear that?" Ben asked, frowning. I nodded, feeling uneasy. It was like the forest had gone on pause. Then, from beyond the firelight, there was a faint rustling. It sounded like footsteps in the underbrush. I tried to shrug it off as an animal, but the sound grew louder, coming from different directions, as if something, or multiple things, were circling us. Ben stood up, grabbing his hatchet. "What the hell is that?" I picked up my flashlight and shined it into the trees, but saw nothing. The rustling stopped. For a moment, everything was still. Then, a loud snap echoed through the woods, like a branch being broken. My pulse quickened. "Who's there?" Ben shouted, his voice shaky. No answer, just more rustling. I flashed my light again, and that's when I saw them. Eyes. Dozens of eyes reflecting the light back at me from the darkness. They were everywhere, staring at us from the trees. Some were low to the ground, others higher up, almost at eye level, and a few were even up in the branches. "Ben, do you see that?" I whispered, my voice trembling. He turned and froze, his face pale. The eyes didn't move. They just watched us, silent, unblinking. "What the hell?" Ben muttered. The rustling intensified, and now we could hear breathing, low, guttural breathing, surrounding us. Whatever was out there wasn't just watching, it was waiting. "We need to go," I said, grabbing my bag, my heart racing. We didn't waste time. We backed away from the fire, keeping our eyes on the woods. The eyes stayed fixed on us, never moving, never blinking. As soon as we were far enough away, we ran. We ran until we reached the car, threw our stuff inside, and sped off, not looking back. Neither of us has spoken about that night since. I don't know what we saw in those woods, but I do know one thing. I'll never go back. Whatever it wasn't something human.